Today we're going to be doing a GMLess playthrough of Dungeons and Dragons. Myself and my friend Jericho will both be acting as players. We will be asking yes or no questions throughout the game to this oracle there between us. So we roll a d6 when we ask that, and it essentially just goes ahead and, well, answers it for us and we continue playing the game. We will each be asking 4 questions on our turn to propel the story forward, essentially. And once those 4 questions are over, we pass it to the next person. When it is not our turn, when we are not the active character, we can ask 2 clarification questions, and that is essentially just following through and asking just about information. So if he was to explain, Jericho was to explain, like, hey, there is a dragon walking down the street, I could say, clarification question, is this dragon a red dragon? Something like that, just to explore the world a little bit more. The audience, that's those of you that are watching, can ask questions as well. You will find rules down in the description of this stream stating how you can ask and what you can ask, but you essentially have several of the same powers that we do, with one interesting exception. For one question during each of our turns, so that's once per turn, you can straight up decide what the role is going to be. So I can ask a question to the Oracle, and once per turn, you can just straight up say no, or yes and. So go ahead and feel free to participate, read the rules so you can get a feel of it, and we will go ahead and dive in. So before we do jump in, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Nick. I'm a writer and an amateur historian, focusing mainly on the Victorian era. This channel is going to be for role plays, maybe one Dead by Daylight stream or two, depending on how busy I want to feel. Let me go ahead and pass that over to my friend Jericho. Jericho, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, my name is Jericho, mostly gamer, story writer, story reader, and whatever you need me to be.
Quite literally, this guy has always been there when I've called upon him, and I'm very grateful to have his assistance. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the help that you've brought in. And let me give a big shout out to Megboo. This would not have been possible without her assistance. She has helped me paint just about every mini you're going to see, helped me set up the stream in every method, and I've leaned on her experience as I've tried to get this out. I am eternally grateful to you, and thank you. So this first stream goes out to you and then the cat. In welcome, Obsolete. Hey, buddy, good to see you, and thank you for that follow. That being said, we are going to go ahead and start the game in the introductions. You should hear a slight fire crackle starting in the background. Wonderful. Also, welcome, Pandora. Call you Pandora for short. Welcome, Pandora. Super excited for the first stream. Glad that you all can hear what's going on. So with that, let's go ahead and get started officially. The flame flickers and cackles throughout this extremely dark passageway. 2 sets of steps echo throughout the stone grounds. That's what she peeks onto. That's what gives her that comfort. She knows there are only 2 people here. Herself and the man in front of her. She trusts this man. His name is General Corvus. They've known each other for years. He doesn't speak. He doesn't talk. He carries the torch in silence. And it takes a second for her to start understanding where she is. The walls go from a cold, dark stone to a black and white checkered pattern. And at the end of this hallway is a door. Excludes the gloom, he says as he approaches it. But none may know of this meeting. Quite frankly, none will ever know it. And he pushes the door open after unlocking it. He guides them in. This room is slightly more open than the hall. Literally a glorified closet. He has not been here before. But standing across from this woman is a man she recognizes. A man by the name of Van. Corvus takes a few steps to his right, the fire gazing off of his chainmail. Van, why don't you introduce yourself?
Standing by the fire, there is. You can call him short, about 5'5". a dragonborn. Whiskers, you can tell that they're moving about in front of him. Then he turns, hearing the door close behind him. His scales, a dark copper. He's been around. At least you can say he has been around. He watches, looks at them over, then smiles. Well, I'm gonna glad I'm not the only one here in front of the fire. Care to join?
I'd have known you would be here. I wouldn't have been, she says with a half smile. She is Samantha. She's a bard. Tries to claim herself to be a bard. In reality, she's more of a spy, working for their benefactor twice, multiple times. They have worked together, we'll say about 3 or 4 different times. They know each other. They trust each other. Though he knows one thing. Samantha occasionally talks a big game. She talks like she's loyal. But she will run. She will tactically retreat the moment things even look like they're going to go bad. And their missions have only succeeded or completed because of Van.
If I knew you would be here, I would have brought you some flowers. Come on. It's not the
Save
first
them
time
for
we
my
met.
grave. Why are we here, Corvus? Moonlight meetings aren't really our thing. But they're mine. Dignified. Grace in the form of a voice. Followed by a few steps to the left. A woman comes out of the darkness. Stops before them. She's dressed in a long blue gown. Her blonde hair in an updo. She is covered in jewels and religious symbols. She stands with her back upright, almost looking her nose at them. And despite this, shall we say, regal appearance, she counts the 2 of them, Samantha and Van, as her friends. The woman that stands before them, they have taken to call Enigma because she never reveals the information. Full information, shall we say. However, they would never say that to her face. They know her as Pope Illumina. Samantha immediately nods, bows, lowers her head to the Pope as she approaches.
Bun would look at Samantha and then over at Lumina or Enigma. Kind of eyeing the religious figures on her necklaces, he would bow also, not wanting to be excuse me, not wanting to be disrespectful of her station.
You don't need to bow. Not here. There's no royal court. There are no guards. Beside Corvus, there are no senators. No dukes, no kings, no princes. I'm sure he's already told you, but none may know of this meeting.
It was at least that forthcoming with that information. Anything else? Still a question.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions. First, you need to after. Are you familiar with... Well, here's the fun part. On the screen now should be a continent directly beneath the Oracle. It looks like it's there for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that it's there for everybody else. What we're going to do is generate the world completely. For those of you that haven't been made aware because I haven't put it in the description, I'm very good at this if you haven't realized that yet. All of this is going to be made up completely on the spot. Aside from this little brief introduction we have so I can give us a direction to sail, a direction to play, from there, everything else is going to be generated on the spot. We have nothing of this pre-written except for our characters. Your mouse just moved on screen and like it totally just, I wanted to reach for it like I was a cat, right? All right. So here's what we're going to do. At this particular moment, I just realized that my dice are going to pop up on screen. Nobody look. You looked. I asked you not to look. Why'd you look? Okay.
Call it a rogue's intuition. We always look.
Do you, though? It's a little bit disturbing. I don't want to think of it. I'm gonna. Anyways, so we have right here on the screen. We are going to each of us, myself and Jericho, there's no coal in that one, roll a d4, right? After that, we're going to ask you both, anybody who's still watching in the audience, for a number between 1 and 4. You can state that number, and that's what we're going to use together to pick a continent, because this map auto-generates an entire world for us. It is one of the most useful things I have ever come across for improvisational play, and it's called Asgar's Map Maker. I'm probably butchering the name, but Jericho, because this is such a guest of honor for you to be here, I'm taking first roll. Do you really think I was going to give it to you? Come on, man.
Go ahead.
1. Let's have you roll. So right now we have a total of 3. Does anybody in the audience want to contribute a number to that as well? Obsolete there, and Megboo for a total of 5. For you removed your dice, but I remember that you had 3, I think?
Oh, and there's another 6.
I did state 1 through 4, so we will cut that off at 4. So we have a total of 9 from them, 1 from me, and did you have 2 or 3?
I had 2.
Very well. So unless my mouth is always incorrect, but unless my math is incorrect, that leaves us with a total of 68. 12 is actually what I was meaning to say. We are going to... Huh?
I was gonna say, you did say that you were quick at math, never good.
Yeah, quick, not good. All men are quick at things, but not good at them. We are going to refresh this map 12 times. So, 1... Oh, don't make me have to hit this every time. You know, that would be annoying. So that's 1. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and here's it is. Whatever comes up next is what we have to go with for the rest of this game. 12.
Nice big continent.
Yeah, they are really spread about. I like the way that ocean sits there in the middle. Look at that one island. So now we can just take a brief moment before we go any further and just kind of see what we gather from the world. What kind of interesting information can we pick off from it and kind of build upon? The most interesting thing that I can see right here, and I think you can see my mouse for once, which is good. This middle island is owned by what looks to be 3 or 4. 3 different continents, essentially. It's always going to be names that we struggle to pronounce because, of course, that's how it works. We have Amolian League. They're a league. Yeah. They're really good at bowling. Don't go anywhere near them. This probably matches up with whatever the hell that is. Mazalianian? What a weird name. And pink. Is that pink? Or is that like salmon? Solomon. Sin-Tran Theocracy. Well. Why are they fighting? Not fighting, but why do they have a joint control over that? Let's take a little bit closer look, shall we? What do we want to know? We don't need to know biomes. Take a look at the markers. What's on this map? There is a dungeon there. It also auto-generates dungeons. Isn't that amazing? And all kinds of fun little stuff. So there is a dungeon here. An undiscovered dungeon. So we don't know what's inside there. Will we find out? Who knows? Let me stop stalling. Next, we are going to be starting from the top left side of the screen. And rolling d4s like last time. My 4, his 4, and whatever 4s you would like to contribute until we land on a location. That location is where we start. I'm going to let you go ahead and get the first roll.
Right. Here it is.
A 3. Do not delete yet because I have the memory of a goldfish. Here's my roll. 4 for a total of 7. Would the audience like to contribute any numbers between 1 and 4? 1 and 4. For a total of 12. For a total of 15. You know, I didn't specify if it couldn't be a point. I don't know how we're going to do that 0.5. Maybe we'll move like directly in the center of the place. We'll figure it out when we get there. So we go from the number that I already forgot, goldfish. What is that? 4 plus 4, 8 plus 4, 12 plus 3, 15 to 17.5. So, starting from the top left, and Antarctica. Is that a Santa hat? No, it's not. It's a mountain. Okay. All right, 17.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We restart. Does not count. 7, 8, 9, 10. We restart. We cannot go back here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is the end of the map. We go to the top. 16, 17. We're starting in the middle of Antarctica, but let's move 0.5 up. So, here. This isn't really a kingdom. I don't know how that's going to work. All right, this is all improvised. Argento, I actually already have some ideas. I was just talking like as a joke. I do have some ideas of how we can justify that, but this isn't just my show. You are here as a co-host. How do you justify the fact that Antarctica, which is probably not its name, is not a kingdom, yet here we are meeting its pope? Or a pope. We don't have to say it's its pope, but go ahead. Throw it out. What you got?
Well, the first thing that comes into mind is the fact that maybe it wasn't in Antarctica the entirety of the time. Maybe the ice is new. And there was a civilization there, or there is still a civilization there, and we're meeting their pope.
Their pope. That's an interesting way to phrase it. We are meeting their pope, and not necessarily ours. What does that mean for the story that we've already established? It means that I have said that we are friends, and that we have done jobs for this person. If it is not our pope, why have we befriended them? Why do we know them? I like the phrasing that you put of their pope. But I'm not just going to say that it's not my pope. Hashtag not my pope. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to ask an oracle question. I'm going to clear my dice and roll a d6 for the oracle, and I'm just going to outright ask, is this Samantha's pope? 4. A 4 is a yes, but. Is this Samantha's pope? Yes, it is Samantha's pope. But it is no longer her pope. Samantha was once loyal servant to this person. No longer. Perhaps she bailed one too many times. Maybe Samantha was meant to be there during some tragic battle that caused the... Not caused, she didn't cause, but was there while the ice slowly moved in, and maybe Samantha had a chance at stopping it. She didn't, and that's why there's a but there. They're friendly, but no longer. I would venture to guess, unless you're going to decide that it's an automatic yes, Jericho. Do you think this is your pope?
You know, I'll let the dice decide. Let's see, D6.
You can't decide if you delete it midair. That's also a D12. That's a D10.
Okay.
8. One more. You're almost there.
There, yeah.
It's a 3 because the 1's there.
Yeah, it's a 3. So, no. Enigma isn't Van's pope. But I would like to say that because he's worked with her and Samantha so many times, they are in friendly terms. Not necessarily from the same religion.
That, again, interesting question when what you suggest that they're in. Not necessarily the same religion. You can work for the church and not necessarily be down with the church. I'm gonna leave that to the oracle as well. Is Samantha religious? That is a 3. Yeah, no, but she has that inkling, that fear. She's not outright religious. She doesn't pray or claim a god, but there's that fear in the back of her mind. I'm going to die someday. Do I want to go to the 9 hells? Do I want to go and hang out with Moradin for the rest of existence? Or maybe go with Zanin Moonbow and Coralon? She doesn't know. She doesn't want to claim so, but she doesn't know. Let's get another clarification question while we're here. I'm inclined to say that Samantha went somewhere close if she survived that and escaped, that is a lot of questions, but okay. I know. Would she have gone to a nearby kingdom? And I want to say that it's yes. It would almost make sense for it to be yes. So, when we have something like that, we roll 2 dice. So I'm just going to throw this up there, not count it as a roll. We roll 2 dice and lean towards what we think it is. So if I think it's likely that Samantha went to a nearby kingdom, I would roll 2 dice and take the higher number because that leans towards yes. So the question is, when this happened and Samantha left, did she go to a nearby kingdom? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. There are 2 6s. That is not only a yes, it is a hell yes. That is also, coincidentally, our first intervention. When 3 6s are rolled, this only counts as 1. When 3 are rolled, an intervention happens, and it drives the games in completely different directions, ones that we have no plans for or can even think, because it's generated there on the spot, more so than everything else. It's literally like from a list of stuff that we have no idea that's there, just to give an explanation. But yes, Samantha went to a nearby place. The closest locations are the one with the funky name and the other one with the funky name. M.U.N.E League. Is Samantha a bowler? Or the Mazalanian marches? Audience, does anybody want to say where Samantha is from at this particular moment? Yellow, or we're going to call that green. Probably closer to a blue, but yellow or green. Any suggestions? Okay. Yellow it is. She is from the M.U.N.E League. That is where she's been residing. That's where she is. Final question before I continue going on and stop dominating this show. Sorry, Jericho. You're paid to sit there and look pretty.
At least I get paid.
The final question is Samantha a citizen of the M.U.N.E League? The answer is no. Straight no. We don't even... do that up. There we go. The answer is a straight no. Samantha is not a resident there. We don't know if she's in hiding or anything else. I'm not going to ask further questions, and I can't clarify that myself. So, no, Samantha has just been there. Jericho, is there anything you want to contribute to your character's background or questions you want to ask about the map?
So, first I'm gonna ask the establishing question: is he from the same kingdom as Lumia or Enigma? I'll give it to one, probably, since they know each other. And that's a double 6.
Wow. Yeah, double 6.
All right.
We are on our second towards the intervention.
All right. So that's yes, and so not only is he from the Icedover Kingdom, he was also born there. He was one of the lucky few to know the kingdom before it iced over. Mostly because he's a warm-blooded dragon. Even Copper, he could survive that barely.
Okay, so you were directly from there. We were both from there. I just simply left. What have you been doing then, since it's all gone to ice? Did you stay? Did you leave? What do you think happened?
I think, and this is part of his backstory a little bit. He didn't leave. However, he and the small group of people he was with, like his family, let's say, were becoming nomads instead of staying in the city like a lot of people did. He started traveling around, and until the day that he came, and that he either alone or he and his family came back. Then that's the question I'm gonna ask: did he come back alone? No. All right.
No, and
Okay, so not only did he not come back alone, he came back with us, several family members, and other people who were trapped in the ice, let's say, in small towns instead of a big city. So bringing them back.
how many people do you think would have come with him? Why don't we leave that to the audience? Audience members, how many people do you think would have traveled through a frozen wasteland with the Dragonborn. Dovahkiin. 9. You have 9 people with you. Well, Magica, let me ask a follow-up question directly towards you. And if you would like, I can roll a dice for that. That you tell me what dice to roll, or you can just give me the number. Out of 9 people, how many of them do you think were combat capable?
Ooh, 2.
2 combatants. Okay. So out of those 9, 2 of them were capable of fighting. I'm going to ask a clarification question. I know I said I wasn't going to be rolling, but deal with it. And my clarification question is, yes, you traveled with these people. Do you know them? No, you don't know them, and you don't trust them at all. Obviously, you would know them by like a first-name basis, but I mean, you don't have a personal relationship with these people.
Yeah, pretty much the only ones that he did know was the immediate family. Maybe even then they didn't come back. Actually, that would be the other question I wanted to ask. Did his family come back with him with the survivors? And I'm gonna leave it neutral. No.
And there's an and there.
All right.
What's the and?
Not only did they not come back with him, like his immediate family, they didn't come back because of a bad decision that they made.
Oh, anybody in the audience want to try answering that? What was the bad decision that his family did not join him? Why was it bad? That's pretty major. The family caused the ice. That's why they didn't want to come back. You now have a personal tie directly to this destruction and to this world. Now, this is my second, because remember, we can ask 2 clarification questions.
Mm-hmm.
My second clarification question is, does Pope Enigma know this? 3. No, she doesn't know this. But she has an idea. It was one of her arbiters that caused it. She's close. I think a question that could be asked is, do you know they caused it?
Do I? Yeah, do I know I caused it? Yes.
You know. You know it happened. Your family did something to cause it. The ice starts coming in. The first chance it happens. Not the first chance, but the moment the ice even makes a major advancement, Samantha leaves. You leave with your family. We both return. Your family's afraid to come back. Do you think, because it's tied to your family, do you think that Van returned out of some sort of guilt? Perhaps there's a bit of necessity in returning?
I think that honestly it's a flat out yes. Like, he feels guilty, even though he's not the one that caused it, he feels guilty because he was present.
Present. Now you're establishing that Van was there when it happened. I don't know if it was established. We said that your family caused it. You also involved. Did you do something with it? Did you fail at something? Perhaps a better question, I can't ask it, I'm just throwing out there stuff so we can explore the world, is, was Van involved with this failure? Or was it sabotage? We don't know what's a failure. Just, was Van involved with the ice would be a better phrasing.
Yeah.
Actually, before you roll that, before you even think of rolling that, because I can't make you roll it, I'm going to ask if the audience wants to clarify and directly answer that. Do you guys think Van, or do you want Van to have been involved with the ice in some matter? First answer is the one we go with. No.
Oh,
you were not involved with it.
Excuse me. I have 2 questions that I need to ask the Oracle about that, though.
Okay.
First question is, was Van's immediate family involved in that? No. Okay.
No, and. Don't forget the and portion.
Yep. So not only were they not involved in it, they were not bystanders. What's the word?
In opposition?
Yes. They were against
would be
the bad decision.
What is your second question?
Second question is, was it was it sabotage? I'm gonna lean towards yes, because the fact that not only Van didn't know, but his parents didn't know, and a lot of people didn't know, or just them didn't know. I'm gonna say that it was sabotage, or more than likely sabotage. So here we go.
5. Yes.
So yes, it was sabotage.
I think the question now is whether internal sabotage, or was this an act of aggression? Did some other country come against our Antarctica, which is not Antarctica? We just like to call it that. And by we, I mean me. We have a decent background at this particular moment. Let's go ahead and carry the story forward just a bit more. I have zoomed out the map. We're going to bring up the dice. And now we are going to do the same thing we did earlier. We are going to roll, myself and Van, Jericho, a d4 to determine another country. So, you rolled first last time. Here is mine. A 2. Jericho? A 3.
3.
Would any audience members like to contribute a number between 1 and 4? Would any audience members like to contribute some sort of cough drop to me? 4, 2, and 3. So at this particular moment, that is a 9, plus 3 for 10, plus my 2 for 12. Let's go ahead and start. Plus 1 for 13.
Hey.
So let's start counting. A lucky
Great.
number for once. Not counting ourselves, we are skipping that. 1, 2, 3, 4, because that's lower. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Sintran Theocracy.
Oh, a theocracy.
I now have cough drops.
Hey.
Okay. Before we carry on at all, would anybody in the audience like to give me a... let me roll a dice real quick. Let's be fair about this. The first one will be... evens is what I meant to say. Will be male. Odd will be female. Let's roll it. Odd will be female. Would anybody like to give me a female name? First one that comes up is the one we go with. Kiki. Or is there an L there? No, it's Kiki.
Oh, it's Kiki.
Stepping back from the world building aspects of what we're doing, we're going to go back a little bit further, a little deeper into the world. These 4 people, Corvus, Lumina, Samantha, and Van, standing by Corvus's fire, his torch. Lumina speaks. I assume you remember Pope Kiki. Samantha nods.
Van thinks for a moment and then nods.
Did you ever meet her? I will actually roll that. I'm not going to just say yes or no. Did Samantha meet this Kiki? 5. Yes, Samantha has met her. That's clear, dice.
I'll roll it also. Wrong one.
Wrong dice.
3.
I need an
No.
emote for wrong dice. Like a giant X or something.
Yeah.
Once.
So Van did not meet her face to face, but he knows of her.
Once when you took me to the theocracy. Quite splendid one. In memory. It was, wasn't it? Enigma says. Back when the themes sing. He's here. For you. Back at that point, Kiki was as good and a loyal a friend as you were, Samantha. But now, he is good no longer. I know we have our own struggles here. I know our kingdom lays buried under ice. And the frost lies eternal. Kiki, Hope Kiki, has been slain. And now, he haunts the theocracy. She rises as what reports claim to be a lich, making the undead strike throughout the theocracy in what others are calling a bloodthirsty attempt at vengeance. I know we are in no position to. The ice grows thicker every day. I don't know what would cause a good and loyal woman to do such terrible things, but I have reason to believe that she doesn't do them on her own bidding. I know you have both fled. I know you've both left. But you are two of my most trusted. Despite your shortcomings, she side-eyes Samantha. Our theocracy calls upon the both of you one last. Go to Sinchan Theocracy. Find out why Kiki is tormented and lay her soul to rest. I do this as your pope, he says, looking to Van, and then reaches out a hand and lays it on Samantha's shoulder. It rests just upon her blue, long cloak. And your friend. Samantha glances at the hand on her shoulder, closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, doesn't answer vocally, purses her lips, and nods.
Vaughn kinda stares over, kinda looking at the empty space for a moment, still processing the information that he was seeing. He has questions still in his mind, but then when she stops and puts her hand on Samantha, he snaps out of it and nods. We'll figure out what's going on.
Thank you. The both of you. Unfortunately, there are some problems. I know that the two of you are arbiters, or were arbiters, but with the destruction of our theocracy, there is not much help I can give you. And to be completely truthful, we don't know which one of the kingdoms out there did this. At this particular moment, they cannot know that I'm sending the two of you. This is a completely off-the-record operation. No one may know you. You do this on your own accord, without any help from the theocracy. Do you understand?
And nods.
Sam nods as well. Very well. Corvus, I believe you have all of the information that we have gathered. I do, Corvus says by the torch. Answer all of their questions. I will take my leave. Plausible deniability. Plus, they only paid me to do this scene. And then she walks away. Corvus looks over to Samantha. Stands there a bit puzzled. I'm pretty sure that Enigma's played by Jennifer Connelly, but you know, it's just a difference of face. I can't tell yet. Nonetheless, Corvus glances over. Any information that we have is yours. But you have to understand we don't have much. Our arbiters haven't been out in the field lately, if you understand why. From this particular moment, we are going to set up the questions centering around the mission so we have some sort of idea what we are walking into. We are going to roll... what do you think? Jericho, you think 10 sounds good? D10?
D10 sounds good.
We are going to roll a D10 each. And that's how many questions we get to ask about the background of this mission, so we can set up potential plot threads or potential allies, potential enemies, stuff like that. So I think I rolled first last time, Goldfish. Let's have you roll first this time.
Right. 9.
9, strong, solid number. I'm out here with that 1. I got low number energy. So that's a total of 10 from the both of us. Audience, does anybody want to add some numbers to that? We will give you between, let's say, 1 and 4, so we don't get some crazy numbers out there. New 9. Wow. Okay. I'm going to say that 9 is accepted because that's actually clever and funny. Very good job, Magica. So we have 19 plus 6, 25 questions. You want to go with 2? We'll go with 2. 9 plus 6 plus 2 for 18. 18 questions between the both of us to go ahead and get information about this mission. I hope to God that Meg is going to write these all down, or else I'm going to have to sit through the VOD and like write them by hand. But throughout this time, at any point as we are asking questions, you in the audience may ask questions as well. We can explore this and set up the plot threads together. So if you ever have a question that pops into your mind, throw it out there. It can either be a clarification for what we set up, or it can just be something you want to just question and add in there as we try to figure out this world together. Let's give you the first one.
All right. Let's see. First question is, do we have transportation there?
I think that you should lean this towards a no.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially because of the situation that's been going on. 2 dice. The answer is no. No, but. So, we don't have transportation there. However...
Answer as if you were Corvus.
Okay. That's right. Corvus. Van would look over at Corvus and ask, do we have any sort of transportation to the Sintran theocracy? Unfortunately, no, we do not have any scheduled transportation for you to be there. However, we do know several merchants that are willing to transport our agents there. We haven't been able to contact them, obviously, because of the snow, he says as he's frustrated. However, if we can get our hands at least one of them, they do owe the theocracy a few favors that we're willing to cash in.
Favors that they can cash in. Okay, let me ask this in character. You said they're favors that we can cash in. I thought you said we're not supposed to invoke the theocracy. If we can cash in these favors, wouldn't that be invoking them? I guess what I'm trying to say is, are we allowed to cash in those promises? 4. Yes, you can. But you're going to need to try to call it in as if it was a personal favor to you. Invoke it as if it was in the grounds of something that you've done for them and they are repaying you. I'm just giving you leads to help you. You can't just say it's from us. We are at 17 questions now. Go ahead and set up your next one.
All right. The next one is, do we have any contacts in the Sintran theocracy? Straight up no. Corvus shakes his head. Not ever since the incident. We lost all contact to all agents in the Sintran theocracy. In fact, that's one of your jobs, trying to figure out what happened.
Guess I'm not the only one that turned tail, Samantha says. A lot of people did. Best not beat yourself up about it. They didn't come back. Do they know? Corvus? Do you have any idea who it is who did this to us? No. We don't got a clue. We believe it was one of the outer ones, but we've never been in direct threat or combat with anybody. You find out anything, you bring it to us.
when Samantha asked us that question, Van kind of freezes a little bit, doing it again, kind of looking forward into an empty space.
You thinking of something?
No, it's just a lot of information to trying to absorb at the same time. I'm trying to organize it.
If there's any more information I can give you, feel free to ask it.
Van nods.
We are at 16 questions.
Are we gonna have to use aliases? Hey.
That is our intervention. So, when an intervention happens, the yes and gets ignored, and the answer becomes whatever the intervention is. Replacing the oracle on screen is now the intervention. Jericho is going to roll a d6, and based on what comes up, I will explain how that alters the story. Jericho, please, your d6.
Right. A 5.
It is a 5. Whatever the answer to this question is, it is going to regress the plot. Any advancements we could potentially make are going to be set back. We are going to be dropped backwards. An example of this, he is asking if we have to use aliases. If the answer is yes, a regress to the plot would be, we could not invoke the Theocracy's name. Samantha can't just walk up and be like, hey, remember me? You helped me. We have to cross. No, she's using an alias. It sets that back and she has to find her own way. That is just one example so you understand how it works. You may use that if you wish, Jericho, but this is your intervention. How are you setting us backwards?
Chris looks over to you, to both of us. Unfortunately for us, everybody else thinks that our theocracy has been destroyed. If we send agents out right now, people are going to know that we still have strength and people here. Our fear is that if people know that we still have strength, they will come to us and invade. So this mission is of most important to be complete covert ops.
Very well, Samantha says. I'll start thinking of something soon.
And nods also. Honestly, I kind of wish I didn't ask.
Kind of like not bringing up that fact that you had homework when the teacher forgets, like you've already done it. Kind of have to deal with it.
I've been there.
Is there any potential that somebody could know? Anybody that could have spoken about this, letting them know that we're coming in a way? I guess what I'm asking is there a chance of us being revealed? No. Orvis says, I told you, which is 4 of us. None may know of this meeting. We are at 15 questions.
Well, I guess one of the basic questions is we will be provided with provisions. Yes. You will be provided with provisions. However, anything outside of a week's worth of provisions, you'll have to fend for yourself.
Surprised there's even that much left in the stores after all of that.
Be grateful
you know there are
that
people starving on the surface, right?
I know. But Bon kind of says it's like Corvus nods. I know. We'll do for now. But the sooner we get this done, the sooner we can figure out what happened.
Speaking of what happened, was anybody else killed besides Pope Kiki? No. No, no one else was killed. In fact, I haven't told Enigma this yet. It looks like a suicide. A suicide. She killed herself to become a lich? I met this woman. That's not her style. Stranger things have happened. We are at 14 questions left. We will continue. Starting on question 14, Jericho.
Question is, do you do you want us to go through land, or do you want us to go through the sea? Obviously, the sea is better, but more risky.
Do we even have time for my line? Also, that is not a yes/no question.
That's
That
right.
is a or question.
I'll rephrase it. Do you want us to go through sea? Orvis shakes his head. No. Would be too risky. Chartered yourself a way around the ocean.
You do realize crossing the entire planet on foot is going to take a little bit of time, right?
It's not. It is, but if you do so, it's gonna be a less more profile, less more people you need to talk to.
Probably more people we have to talk to. Though the long ship ride over there is probably less personal. Or more personal. Death by suicide, huh?
Vaughn kind of nods. Find it hard to believe. If anything I remember hearing about her is true.
Do you have a list of suspects? Anybody you think might potentially do this? That is our first intervention after the reset. Yes, I do. There's a few of them that I think are of particular interest. We're going to roll a d6. 1. Seeing as I made it sound like there was more than one, my finger slipped. 5. 5 people of interest that have potentially killed the Pope in the storeroom with a wrench. Anybody want to throw out some names for me? Can be any name in particular. I just need 5 of them. I'll give one myself. We're going to call one of the potential killers Captain Johansson will be one of them.
Oh, Captain.
Guard Captain Johansson. Another one will be Seth Returns. Magica, what does Seth Returns do for a living? You have anything for that one?
He returns. What do you mean?
Oh, okay then. He's a treasure hunter.
Treasure hunter.
Why would a treasure hunter kill the Pope? Quite frankly, to get her Pope hat. A bounty hunter. She's correcting that to a bounty hunter.
Ah, bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter potentially killing someone. That has a lot to say, and not just the whole I'm gonna kill the Pope for some reason. What if she hired him for a reason, and in an attempt to keep him silent, she was gonna kill him, but he killed her first? You know, just some weird conspiracy within the conspiracy stuff. I'm not setting that in canon yet. That's just some getting the old brain cogs working. I'll forget it because goldfish. I don't smile back though. I never smile. Anyways. Okay, so we have Seth Returns the Bounty Hunter. Guard Captain Johansson. Van, you want to give me a name?
Derek.
Derek. What's he do?
He is a thief.
A thief.
More
he was
so.
trying to steal the Pope hat.
Yeah.
More so what? You were going to explore that. Go ahead.
More so, he was supposed to be a recovering thief.
What do you mean by recovering thief? Like an addiction?
I mean, not
I'm
to
not
brag.
supposed
By the recovering thief, I mean that he was thrown in jail for thievery. Sack of potatoes here, a horse there, some family jewels in the other end of the spectrum. And he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You're
Or,
going. Well, we don't want to say that he happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. We don't want to say that he's innocent.
true.
That's clearing it. We'll leave it there. He's a former
That's-
thief.
Former thief.
I am going to be really disappointed. I'm really disappointed that this name came up. I'm not. I love
Red
that
herring.
cartoon. Yes. It's a red herring, but nonetheless.
But
is
one
it
time
red
he actually
herring?
was.
What does red herring do for an occupation, shall we say? I'm going to be mad if it is him, though. You
Yeah,
know, you should. No, you can't make him. You can't do that. If he's red herring, he has to be like a known necromancer because it's a red herring. She's a lich. So, like, obviously, that's the person we would expect to be him.
oh, priest.
We'll go with priest. Well, no, because we have to go with what the person who suggested it. Red herring the chef, who is not known for his herring. He says necromancer. Okay, red herring the necromancer is what we'll go with. The necromancer cult leader. I like that. Let's combine those two like some sort of weird Wonder Twins or The Thing. Good movie. There's a poster behind me, but you can't see it because my walls are now made of stone. That's real. Okay, so we have a total of 4. Anybody else want to throw out that last character? I mean, yes, necromancers do have that. You can also be a chef and a necromancer. He likes people with fava beans. I'd do the thing, but I probably wouldn't make it sound good.
Hmm.
Okay, so the last one I will just go ahead and throw out there just to have it. We have all of these people so far are dudes, a lot of threatening dudes. Let's throw a chickette in there. We will call her. We will call her Amy. And she, because we have a guard, a thief, a doctor. Amy is the doctor that last saw the Pope alive.
Yeah,
That's a good one, Magico. You're very good. You're very good at like the random stuff that gets these juices flowing.
yeah,
Oz?
she's the personal doctor to Pope
Yes.
Kiki.
Pope Kiki's personal doctor, the last person to see her alive. Red herring, the personal necromancer slash chef. No, they're just in the area. So we have some interesting threads. We have 14 questions left, and I actually know exactly what I want to ask based off these people that we just established. But Van, you are starting us off, and I'm just erasing dice from my screen.
All right. Question is, do we know what caused Pope Kiki's death? No, straight up no.
Yeah, we just know it was potentially a
She
suicide.
just died.
In Daggerfall, which this is vaguely, our little introduction is borrowed from Daggerfall just to give us that direction to go. But in Daggerfall, you can like stab something and it'll just be like, rat just died. Like, no reason, it just died. Okay, so we don't know why she's died. She just died of suicide, apparently. My question is, the Sintian Theocracy, are they known to have a massive problem with necromancers?
Oh.
Yes, but it was only recently that it's gotten worse because the former pope is now going around as a lich. We're at 13 questions. Go ahead and take us.
So we established they have a necromancer problem. Has the Sintian Theocracy been involved in a war recently? No.
So their problems are mostly internal.
Mm-hmm. Or at least it seems that way.
So there are 2 things on the map that I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
1, we are not the only section covered in ice. There are 2 other locations, 3, right here.
That's
but
right.
The most interesting part about this, of this center island, the Sintran Theocracy owns 1/3 of it, if you want to call that a third.
So that kind of leads me to believe that whatever happened in that central island didn't decay into war.
We don't know if anything has happened with that central island. We have no idea how long that place has been owned, shared, or dominated by any of those 3 kingdoms.
Countries? Yeah.
Land, countries, that's a better word for it, yes, country. Your seam is breaking on your camera, just so you're aware.
That is odd. I will be right back. Let me check what that is.
Now I'm sitting here by myself, and I'm talking to myself. That's chaos. Nonetheless, I get to ask the questions now. I'm in control. They're not involved in a war. Not recently. Oh, very, very good catch, Megboo. There is ice creeping in at the bottom. Oh, that's... Man, I was going to ask a question, but this is a much better question. And there's also at the lower right side. The land is not surrounded by ice. I don't think so. However, let's ask that. I'm not just going to go off the map. Is the entire continent surrounded by ice? This is a question from Megbu. No, the entire land is not surrounded by ice. If it's not surrounded by ice, and we have previously established that the ice was caused by something that failed, that leads me to believe that the ice is in no way natural. So I want to ask this question now. Because I didn't catch, you are completely correct. Let's zoom in to give the other viewers a good look. There is ice creeping in on the lower left, and then there's chunks of it in the center, and then to the right, the Sulashamian theocracy has a bit of it in the center, but it is still connected to the Sintran. Oh man, what can we... I'm going to ask, is what happened to our continent... I don't want to say happening to the world, but I could. And I'm going to lean it towards yes. Leaning towards yes. Is what's happened to our continent happening everywhere else? No. No, it's not happening everywhere else. But it could. It is a threat. Some sort of threat that's popping up across the continent. Whatever that threat is, we've failed to contain it. Our continent is probably not the first to fail, because looking to the right, we have the top and the lower, mid-right, essentially, where huge swaths of land are being taken over. I actually might be able to... Ooh, is it miles? Out there, that's about 667 miles of ice, place that have just taken over. Welcome back.
Sorry about that. I'm not exactly sure what that was.
You know, me neither, but we're just gonna keep going. We will do it live. Yep. Did you happen to hear anything that I had established or said?
Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry.
That's perfectly fine. Megbu brought up one of the most interesting things that have come up so far. Down here at the bottom is more ice. In fact, it is growing like a cancer within the Sinchan theocracy. It leads me to think that something is happening now. I have already asked some clarification questions, right? And not clarification, but oracle questions, I could say. The ice is not natural. There is no other ice on the continent. I was measuring these things and taking a look at them, buying myself time, and not having any dead air. But it looks like there are two other continents on the right side of the map that are also iced over. I have established that the ice is not natural. And it's not a direct threat to the world, but that it can be. With that, we drop down to what looks to be 12 questions. I'm probably going to kick myself and be like, wow, I'm saying them wrong. Or I skipped a number or something, but we'll go with 12. 12's a nice round number. Before we go any forward, does anybody want to ask any questions? Trying to throw something out there? Anything interesting you may have noticed that you want to ask or look into? With no questions to interject with, I will pass it on to you, Van. There are 12 questions left from both of us before we actually jump into the main story. What do you have to ask based on what we...
Let's see. So it's been established that the ice is not natural.
Correct.
I'm gonna ask that if the ice is coming from another... what's the word? Another plane of existence? Another realm?
Is the ice otherworldly? Tia. No.
No.
It is not dimensional leak.
Alright, so whatever that is causing the ice is coming from that world. That's interesting.
I didn't know, Samantha says. I didn't know that Sintran was also dealing with their own glacial threat. Corvus, do you... think it has anything to do with the necromancers? I do. And you need to think about it, Sam. The Sinchan theocracy was dealing with necromancers. Iki died and there's ice. We had necromancers here, and look what happened. That is our second 6, and I have just established that necromancers were located in our country before the ice took over. It seems, not established, but it seems that this ice has something to do with death. We are at 11 questions left.
That is a good question. No, that is a good point, but what else can this be? Do we know of any groups that are actively trying to release, not release, to cover the world in ice?
I would think that is unlikely because we have already established that we have no idea who would have done this.
Let me rephrase that question. Do we know of any groups that that want to help the necromancers for whatever reason? I'm going to lean in towards no. Straight up no.
Double 2. The dice are leaning to that no as well.
Yeah. Van looks around there over. It's like, do we know of anybody who wants to cover the world in ice? Corvus shakes his head. Not at the moment. Oh, we know that there's just, what's the word? It's just individual people, individual necromancers who are doing this. We're not sure if they're organized or not.
How could they not be organized? They took out our place. Sandran Theocracy's next, and you want us to take the land. Calm down, Corvus says. Sorry, it's just a lot at once.
So I have another question about that, but I
In
think
line,
it's
young sir. Sorry, I'm kind of like staring off and pausing for a moment. You can ask your question. I was just joking with you.
no, you're
But I
right.
get 2 in a row.
That's fine. Does Corvus know that his family was involved in whatever incident
I
happened?
think we've already established that as a yes earlier, like one of the first questions. That's why you came back.
Oh. No, I mean, is because we established that they were, but Enigma didn't know. I'm asking if Corvus knows.
Yes, it is. Oh, Corvus. Sorry, I thought you said yourself. Yes. Does Corvus know you were involved? That's a good question. Yes, ask that.
All right. I'll put it towards neutral because he might. Well, there we
That
go.
is, I believe, our third intervention.
Third in range, and it's a 6.
So, what's this intervention come up as? Give us another 6. Why do you get both of them?
Good question. Lucky, I guess.
Advance the plot. Why does Corvus knowing about this, how does that advance the plot? Go ahead, take it.
Well, kind of looks over, still spacing out for a little bit, thinking. Remembering what happened those weeks, months, years ago. Who knows? Corvus looks at him over and notices that he's spacing out again. I haven't told Enigma this, but you deserve to know. Man, I am one of the few people who know what happened.
Real quick, interjection. I'm just going to clarify. Does Samantha know? No. No, what happened?
Van looks at him over and his confusion turns to fear in his face. He looks over at Corvus. How long did you know? Corvus looks around. A couple days.
No, what? Why do you look like you're about to piss yourself?
Corvus looks over at Van and then over at Samantha. Van kinda, in a defeated tone, shakes his head. My group, when we went out there to find people in the towns, maybe food, when the ice was taking over. We found travelers. Not sure where they were from. They were secretive, but they seemed to know where they were going. One of them says they were a navigator of some sorts, so we followed them. We came to a point in the road where there was a fork and there was a storm. Those two individuals said that we took the left road. Everybody else was saying that we took the right. However,
What are
my
you trying to
parents
say?
van stops, looks around, and bites his lip.
He takes a few angry steps towards you. On the screen, she is the one to the right, stopping in front of him. What are you trying to say?
I think those two individuals had something to do with it because a couple hours after we lost track of them, the big storm that consumed the entirety of the nation came in.
You downplaying it, Corvus says. Lying to her isn't gonna save you from anything. His family was involved. They knew of something. This storm. They told no one and failed to stop it. I am going to roll a wisdom. He has a +2 on that. And from there, we're going to say the difficulty of this is 14. So whatever I roll plus... Samantha manages to keep calm at this. Again, she purses her lips. Her left hand seeks the blue cloth shoulder. Her eyes dance around a bit, catching the flicker of the fire, the torch beside her. And then she looks Van in the eye. No.
No. I didn't know they weren't even a mission.
Fucking lie to me, did you know?
I'm not lying to you. I didn't know. If I knew, I would have gone with them. I haven't seen them since then. None of them. None of the people that went there. Found out what they were doing afterwards. Corvus told me. Just now.
Why haven't you told Enigma? He asks, looking to him to the right, still holding that torch.
Corvus looks over. Haven't told her simply because she has too much on her plate. Not only that, it's the fact that we haven't found their bodies. We presume them dead. He looks over at Vaughn. Vaughn doesn't say anything, but looks down at the floor. Like any other agent, we presume them dead. They haven't reported since they left.
This whole time I've been feeling like if I would have just stayed, things would be different. Enigma needs to know. Corvus moves the side. If you're done with this debriefing, or with this briefing, you should go. But if not, you need to catch up on your information.
Vaughn takes a deep breath and nods. Kind of clenching his jaw. He shakes it off and looks over. We're gonna go through land.
I don't think you're in a position to give any orders.
He looks over at Samantha. So I wasn't giving any orders. You are not in the position either.
More of a position than you are.
Hmm.
Does Samantha have a connection in the M.U.N.E League that she can use for assistance? She's not going to be asking this out loud. No, she has no connections, and she doesn't have a friend in that area.
Ouch.
She thinks about this to herself. She ran, she hid, she did nothing, she got the call, and she came back. Unfortunate. But that's life. The life of a coward, at least. One of the more interesting questions is that we have ice leaking into the M.U.N.E League. Now, we have already claimed that the ice is from our country, but theoretically, is the ice leaking into that? We don't know if all of that is our country, so is the M.U.N.E League getting overrun by ice as well? Are we leaking into that? No. No, that is all of our country. We are now at 10 questions left.
All right.
Had a brief random interlude because, you know, sometimes interventions cause the plot to happen in that method. And I believe that was an advanced plot, and I guess the advance of the plot is there is now contention between the two of us. Samantha does not trust him. There is a bit of difficulty, but I mean, that's what happens to these things. Van, go on ahead. We are at 10 questions left.
What's the nation on the opposite side of the M.U.N.E League?
The Mazalianian. Yeah, that's right. Marches.
Masalian Marshes. It's been established that all the other arbiters that were in the theocracy left.
Yes, it was in a comment that you had Corvus made that he had lost contact. So we don't know if they've all left. We just know
Or
that there's
just
no
us.
contact with them. Which makes sense. If ice overtakes your kingdom and your infrastructures completely break down, you probably don't have a way to contact them.
Yeah. I'll ask if Vaughn has any contacts over in the. What's the nation underneath the M.U.N.E League?
We have the Principality of, let me zoom out, please, Aurum, and the Grand Duchy of Urki Baria. That sounds like an orc place.
That sounds like an orc place.
God, give the orcs their entire own continent. That would not go well.
Gotta ask if Vaughn has any contacts in the Principality of Taurum.
Yes, and that is our first intervention.
Vaughn looks over. Be it as it may, I think I have a couple of very trustworthy people who are willing to work with us over in the Principality of Taurum. He looks over at Samantha, then at Corvus.
That's a long way to go to potentially contacts think would work with us.
Well, at least it's something, to be quite honest. At the moment, we have absolutely nothing. Not even a way to get there. I can establish, or I can send over a message. Hopefully they can meet us. If they're still alive.
Why wouldn't they be?
Considering the state of the world.
Does the Principality of Tarum have any issues with orcs? No. And they do a pretty good job of handling the orcs that I apparently established live in Urki Baria.
Alright.
Do they have any ice going on there?
Doesn't
No.
look like it.
Well, what's this down here? Is that ice? That kind of looks like ice.
It does? Oh, wow.
Oh, we're down to 9 questions.
The borders of the M.U.N.E League being patrolled.
That is a good question.
Guarded.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yes, but
Alright. Vaughn looks over at Corvus. One of the nagging questions that I have in my head is the M.U.N.E League protecting their borders, considering that the ice is encroaching on them? Or looks like it. Corvus shakes his head. They are, as any nation should be doing. However, my reports say that their patrols are few and far between. Apparently, their guards don't want to get anywhere near the cursed thing.
you just made me think of a very interesting question. Is it more than ice?
Is it more?
Are there creatures within the ice? Why else would they be guarding it? Think about it. Stopping refugees and people trying to escape? Maybe, if the M.U.N.E League are a bunch of assholes. But are there creatures within the ice? Are there things within it making it a bigger threat than just icy survival? I'm gonna roll 2 dice because I feel like this is a yes.
I think that's the third
Solid
16.
5.
Ah,
Both 5s?
both 5, solid
It is an
5.
absolute yes. There are things within the ice. They are being patrolled against the problems of the ice. Now, with what we just established, minus the orc portion, going back to the Principality of Tarum, we established that they're doing pretty good, that there's not an amount of danger. They probably have a better way of defending against the ice. 8 questions left.
I'm going to leaning towards not likely, but is the M.U.N.E League hostile towards us? No.
And
All right, so Juan looks over at Corvus. Do we have any animosity with the M.U.N.E League? Corvus shakes his head. Luckily enough, no. We've had a very solid relationship with the League for about 200 years now. So any animosity is mostly under the rugs and between nobles that have no idea what's going on.
nobody would really talk to me once they found out I was from here. Are the nobles from the M.U.N.E League even helping us, providing relief in any way? No. And most of their resources are going to defending their border against the creatures coming out of the ice. 7 questions left.
Speaking of creatures coming out of the ice, is the M.U.N.E League accepting any refugees from our nation? I'm gonna leave it just neutral, so I can't figure out any either or. Yes. Luckily enough, the M.U.N.E League, even though they're not providing any resources, they're not barring anybody from our nation to seek refugees in there. Obviously, they need the work.
I'm gonna ask, are the Mazalani and Yen people hostile? Yes, they're hostile, but they're actually providing more assistance than the Lemunian, whatever the hell, Amulian League has, because they figure if we lose our kingdom, they lose theirs. In fact, they also have some ice going off to the right, so they know what it's like, and they're trying to form a stronger alliance. Perhaps this is the end of hostilities. The world will never know.
I just noticed something in the map that the way the ice is forming, it looks like it's trying to form around the marshes, but something looks like it's preventing the ice from pushing into the middle.
Is it water? Because if you take a look at it, the entire map is primarily water. I don't see any portion of ice, correction,
on the
except for
water.
down here. These two are connected directly to the ice. However, that might be a good question to ask. Is water preventing them from moving on?
I'll ask that. Is the water preventing the ice from encroaching on it?
Yes.
Yes.
We have access to this map. They don't. So I'm going to follow up and ask, do we know that? And I'm going to make it 2 dice because I think it's unlikely. 1. No, we don't know, and they haven't surveyed the ice up north. So they don't know that that's happening. We don't know that water's preventing it. It's just a thing.
So essentially, it just established the world question, not something we know.
Yes. There are 5 questions left. Would anybody like to throw one out there, see if we can get some information going? Anything so far that you feel hasn't been explored, or just one more piece of information that comes from it? We have one. That's a really good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a great one. Okay. How do we want to handle that one? What do you think? Well, let's ask you, Magica. Do you think it is more likely, less likely, or neutral that the sun would melt this ice? Because that brings a lot of questions. If the sun doesn't melt the ice, obviously that's the reason it's going. What if the sun melts the ice and the ice is still growing? That is terrifying. Like to think about, like the ice gets
Ooh.
melted maybe during the day, but then when the night comes forward, it just
It's
grows
ice is
more
slower.
aggressive. Scary. Maybe it wouldn't. So it's
Ooh.
leaning towards no. You and I will both roll 1, and whoever gets the higher or the lower number, we're asking, does the sun melt the ice? And let's go. I rolled a 6. A 6. Okay. That
Wow.
is our second 6. And even the dice want this to happen. Yes, the sun melts the ice, but with the simple fact that it keeps growing, we don't know what it does. Yes, the sun melts the ice and it still keeps growing. That is scary to think.
Ooh, that's a good question to ask, but that would be something else. A world question.
We will have that momentarily. It will be your turn in a moment, but thank you, Magica Fox, for that excellent question.
All right. The next question is something helping the ice grow during the night? I'm gonna leave it neutral because we don't show. Actually, no, I'm gonna lean it towards there is something because obviously, if the sun would melt it, it would go away.
That is the third 6.
Third six.
So we are jumping right back to the intervention. Go ahead and give us another 6.
All
And
right.
stop stealing the interventions. Come on, I want to try. 4.
Or
Advancing the plot.
ooh, Van would look around. Did we establish that we had a map of the world in the meeting?
We did not establish that, but if he's giving us a briefing, it is believable that we would have it. However, since we did establish that we don't know that the northern side is being swallowed by ice with water breaking, we will have to say that that is not fully upgraded and probably just regular land.
Okay. Corvus would move around and look towards the map. Not necessarily looking, but the map also has a large area of where it's covered with white, obviously where we know, at least in the nation, that there's snow and ice. It contemplates it for a bit. God knows that if it wasn't for the sun, the entire world would be covered in ice. However, during that night, you must be very careful. Especially in the ice. The temperature goes down substantially. Wind picks up. It helps grow the ice. By some sort of miracle, it hasn't swallowed the entirety of the world yet.
How does that advance the plot?
This would look over. I don't think anybody has noticed this, but this is not a natural occurrence. Someone is helping the ice spread.
Do you have a lead for that? Anybody who might be. Who can point us towards that? We do. But that's not your job right now. Not our job. You're sending us across the entire world. Don't you think it's a little important that we would be informed about this, that we could know? Something is happening, and you're sending us across the world to the Pope. I think it's involved. 4 questions left.
Just because it popped into my head right now. Is another team of arbiters going to figure out who is pushing the ice?
Oh man.
I would look over. Obviously, because we're not the ones being sent over to figure out who's doing this, if at all. I'm guessing there is somebody already going to investigate. Corvus shakes his head. No, not at the moment. But we're establishing a team right now to send them into the ice.
Are you sending Van across the world because you don't trust him? I'm gonna add 2 dice and think that it's likely. First intervention. Orvis stands up straight. Yes. There's a lot of animosity over what happened. And those who do know place your family at the center. And Van, they think you were involved. If I don't get you out of this place, you're in danger.
That explains a lot. He is going to... I'm going to roll the wisdom check. It's going to be a save. So it's a +2, and the DC is a 16. No. Flat out 1.
Not just a no, a hell no.
Yeah. Van looks at it over. It's like, so that's why they've been avoiding me. Why would I come back if it was me?
Survivor's guilt, Samantha says.
People who do this don't have survival skill. Survival skill, Samantha. This is purposeful. Whoever did this is doing it on purpose. Anybody
Maybe you
doing
just
it would
wanna
be...
look innocent.
He'll look at Samantha over. There's a fine line between being and looking.
Why are you sending me with him? My question to his, or was it mine that I just rolled? I rolled it, never mind. Go ahead and ask yours, and then I'll ask mine.
Establishing that there is animosity between other arbiters and Vaughn. This might be something in the background, but are they trying to kill him? Vaughn looks over. That explains why they've been following me. Catching glances every once in a while. That you would think they were doing something else. If they wanted to catch me, they already did. Guess they were just playing cat and mouse. Corvus shakes his head. No, they just want to keep an eye on you. Trust me, Vaughn, if they wanted to kill you, they've already done so. That statement kind of sends a chill up his spine, but he fixes himself and nods.
Are you sending me because they think I'm involved with it? I meant to roll 2, so let me re-roll that. 3. Likely. Yes, and. Second, 6. Samantha, you have to understand your reputation isn't well known outside of us. I don't have a Van has told me all of the times you've quit. You son of a bitch. And I still kept you around. Listen, they think that you leaving has something to do with it. If I get you both out of here, and they can solve it, I'm saving your lives. I'm the one who told the Pope to send you.
Vaughn nods at that.
According to Meg, who is listening and moderating, that is question number 36. Which is off my count, but I will go back after the VOD and double check it. Because I believe we should have at least 4 more each, but G has a wider view than we do in the middle of the action. No more questions. No more hesitation. I've said more than I should. Door to your left is a room for the night. Rest, and then start your journey tomorrow. You leave just as the sun comes up, before anyone else knows you're here. Corvus walks the wall to his right, lights the torch hanging off of it, hands you one, then hands one to Samantha. Just the doors to your left. Rest, my friends. I do this for your good and the Sintran theocracy.
Thank you, Corvus.
With that, Corvus strolls into the dark. It's here that we set up using elf dark vision. Ooh, you didn't see that coming. You thought he was human. Opens the door, closes it behind him as he... If I find out you're lying about this, or you knew something, it's not the nobles that you're gonna have to worry about.
Don't worry about Samantha. Feelings mutual.
You know I
That-
did nothing to it.
I didn't either.
And yet, you tried to hide it. She turns, flame swooshing, her little blue cloak flowing with her. She heads out.
He moves as he follows through the door on the left.
With that, we have established all that can be established for this scenario before we move forward. From this point on, it is just the actual story. Whatever the Oracle decides, and the roads that we head out. Let us pass the night in a slow, sad, windy. We find the morning. It comes with the same frigid winds that choked the night. Its grip is just lesser now. Van, roll a d6 for me.
All right.
And whoever rolls the higher one takes the first turn. Well then, re-roll a d6 for me.
It looks Snake Eyes.
5.
All right.
Damn it. All right.
High initiative. Let's go.
Oh, we should have just gone after initiative. That's whoever wakes up first. That's clever and stupid. We're doing that later. Nonetheless, it is the next morning. The official story begins. The only current setting is that we are within what's left of our kingdom, and we set it up that it was the Pope's palace at the start before we established ice, so we are underground in the Pope's palace. And I will let you take it from here to set the scene, set your scene, and then go. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, the rules are each person has a turn. And on that turn, that person may ask 4 questions and then it has to pass. The other person not playing, myself in this moment, can ask 2 clarification questions during Van's turn. And that's essentially just saying he says something and then I'm like, okay, but is this what you meant? And then the dice tell me. There are rules for you, the audience, dear viewers, to do this as well. You participate and ask questions or change the story as we go about. Feel free to jump in and do so. The person not playing will have to, or the person playing will simply have to deal with it. So, Van, Dominic, Robert, set the scene for us, and then begin your 4 questions.
The sun hasn't even come up yet. However, Vaughn is slowly waking up, setting up gear already on. In fact, that he wasn't able to sleep through the night. So many questions in his head and not enough time to answer them. He looks around and looks over Samantha. Not sure if she's asleep or not, but she lets her be. He looks around the room for a moment, contemplating, then moving to the nightstand near near the bed that he's at. Starting to don his belt, putting away his things on his backpack. Though, doing this, you can tell that he's still contemplating something, still something in his mind. He just shakes it off. Let's see. One of the first questions I'm gonna ask is the weather favorable for the night? 5, yes. Van looks outside and suddenly opens the window to try to figure out if there's any storm
We are
or any wind.
underground right now.
My mistake. Let me rephrase that. Van looks around, seeing the room bricked up. He looks over and slightly shakes Samantha's bed. It's almost time. Sun's gonna be up in about a couple hours.
I know. I've been awake.
He nods. He looks over. Do you need time?
She sits up. The bed squeaks beneath her. She's not wearing her vest, just the long-sleeved white shirt. It's now a bit heavier than she normally wears. Ready as I'll ever be.
Nodding once again as he starts moving. I'll go check if I can get myself some rations or extra. Anyway, he'll look over at his backpack and looks in. Never mind, I guess Corvus had already thought of that. Starts counting.
He wants us gone. We blame him for getting it ready.
Enough. I'll wait for you outside, he says as he puts the backpack on and walks outside of the room.
As he's leaving, Ella runs her hands through the vibrant reddish orange hair that's a mess after she's covered in sweat despite the fact that it's freezing cold. And he closes the door to her long drawn out sigh. You still have 3 questions.
And standing outside, he looks around. Are there any guards around? Let me reverse that. I'm gonna roll twice. Because
Leaning towards
obviously,
what?
leaning towards there are, especially since it's the palace.
4. Yes, but.
Yes. Glenn looks around, seeing guards walking around. However, they're nowhere near the room that they're at. In fact, the corridor that they're sitting on seems suspiciously empty. Not cold, because of the torches lining the hallway, but empty. Being slightly superstitious, Van looks around now, becoming a little bit hyper aware of his surroundings. Are there any other arbiters in the palace? I'm gonna lean in towards likely.
Probably unlikely if he says he has no contact with others.
That's right.
But you've also mentioned that he's about to send a team. Probably neutral would be best on that.
Let me roll that. 2. No. Van looks around, still kind of surprised at the emptiness of the palace, even at a high stature that, especially with the ice outside. I believe that would be 4, or am I missing one?
Meg is
Oh, that's
asking
a
a
nice question.
clarification question. Is Corvus keeping people away from them? Go ahead and clarify that, Jericho.
That's a good question. Judging of what's been going on, I'm gonna lean in towards likely.
Well,
So I'm gonna roll.
let
Oh,
Megmu decide that. Is that likely or
yeah.
unlikely? Likely.
All right. So I'll roll twice.
5.
It is. So yes. Unknowns to the party, both Vaughn and Samantha, Corvus is keeping the other arbiters away from them. Mostly because they, for lack of a better word, animosity between all of them. It may be miscommunication and misinformation.
I think you have one more question, unless I'm wrong.
I believe that was my 4th question.
Do you have anything you want to add before you pass?
I think I've established everything that I wanted to. Bound is waiting outside of the room, ready and able.
Sitting up. Sam shakes off the sleep. After running her hands through her hair, pulling out a few more strands that she feels comfortable losing, rubs the sleep out of her eyes and fully rises. There's a bucket on the nightstand by her bed, and she looks at it. Can't see her reflection. The fireplace at the end of the wall between beds casts a few shadows across the room. It twists and merges their ankles, bending them to all sorts of impossible shapes and fictional creatures. She hesitates because she knows the bucket will be cold. And when her hand plunges into the water, splash. That's not a splash sound. That's not what you're supposed to be doing in the bucket, Sam, but okay. It's cold. Flashes her face, stands up, dries her hands on her pants before sighing to herself, realizing that she just made her pants damp and it's going to be cold as hell when she leaves. She grabs her vest, thrown at the edge of her bed, and slides it on. It's dark, not quite black. In fact, she equates it to some sort of dark stone. Grabs the long wrap that she keeps, and no longer letting it dangle like a cloak, she wraps it around her neck like it was a scarf, and it chokes up her reddish hair along her body, giving her an almost bob-like look. She slips on the thick leather boots and glad they're fur-lined for a moment. She sighs, walks over to the door, opens it, apparently clogging her way through, and slams it behind her. My cat meows at me from beneath my feet, and I don't know if you hear that. I'm ready. Thinks back to the fact that she didn't make her bed, but then Ben didn't make his bed either, so no big deal. What about the people you came with? He asks him. Are we supposed to just leave them, or are you bringing them along?
They're staying here. I lost contact with them as soon as we came into the city limits. At least the people that stayed with me.
I see. Well, better off that way, right?
Nods. The less in their group, the better, to be quite honest. He starts walking. Besides, they were just farmers. If I remember correctly, all the combatants went the other way.
Yeah, well, farmers can handle themselves, right? What kind of crops can you grow in the snow? We used to play this board game called Harvest Moon, and once winter came along, there was nothing we could grow.
Winter was always harsh here, but people were hardy.
The difference between hardy and rigid, freezing wasteland. You know we're gonna have to travel through mostly along the surface. I guess it really just depends on how much ice has fallen, snow throughout the night.
It does. I mean, it's faster going on the surface unless there was some sort of tunnels that I don't know about.
No. The Pope didn't have a chance to set up tunnels like that. Are they greeted by Orvis before they leave? No, they're not. The two of them walk towards the exit, and they freeze before the back entrance, the one they used to get in. And as Samantha looks at the cold stone door with the snow and sleet from beneath it, coming in through the small crack at the bottom, she scoffs. Makes sense now why he wanted us to come through the back.
Does. Nobody knows about this, I think. He points over at the back way.
No, just people like us. He reaches beneath the doll and pulls out the hood attached to her vest. He places it over her head. You ready?
He nods. He moves over doing the same thing with his hood, pulling it from underneath the leather armor that he has. If it's not now, then when? He says as he pushes open the door and starts walking off.
The world outside is frigid. The heavy wind that chases ice, frost off buildings and onto windows and onto Samantha's face as she steps out into the cold morning bites her in a way that she wasn't prepared for, even if she is trying to get used to this. We know that Orvis isn't waiting for them. It's someone else. Yes. This person isn't making themselves known. Outside in this cold, frozen world, as they leave the back entrance of the Pope's Manor, made to resemble a small home. The Dragonborn and the Bard step out into freezing cold. People are watching. Dear audience, how many people do you think should be watching them? These are nefarious strangers. Or maybe they're not strangers. Why don't we say between 1 and 4? How many do you think? Anybody want to give us a number? 2 from Megboo and the Magic Box. Perhaps there's another nearby house that one of them waits inside, while an archer watches from directly above, tipped off that they were going to come this way. This man, who apparently is a fire mage, waits behind a nearby home, with the fun of it, a nearby wagon, and a frozen well in the center of a small little village-like area. A couple of crates that this guy wants to use as cover. They step out into the frigid cold. 2 of them. The first thing I want to call for is perception checks. We're going to make them a little difficult and say because of the snow, the wind, the sleet that's blowing, and the fact that these 2 are in inconvenient locations, that it's probably going to be a bit more difficult to find them. So we're going to call for a 16. 16 for perception. Samantha has a +4.
Same with Vaughn. Vaughn has a +4 perception.
So let's see if they notice this. 11
Nope.
+4 is, 15 exactly. There was already a 4 convenient. He succeeds. What
I
did
did
you
not.
roll?
I rolled a 1.
You don't notice
So
a damn
for a
thing.
total of 5.
A few steps into the snow. A little bit out there. And then Samantha stops. He places a hand on you. Footsteps on the ground. Ahead, he says. By the well. Into the right. Wagon. See it. With her assistance, I believe now you would see what she's pointing out.
He nods. Figures.
Watchers are hostile. In fact, what do you think, chat? Are they hostile or are they simply just observing? One is hostile and they're not together. That's interesting. That's a good one. Hostile but not together. Okay. We're going to do a roll real quick. Even on the dice is the archer is hostile, the dude that's right here. Odd is the, whatchamacallit, the fire mage down there.
Fire mage.
So our Our general threat is probably no. I'm not gonna sit here and just kind of be like, this is what happens for sure. I'm gonna roll it. I'm gonna roll it. I don't want to just say like one is this, but this is more fun. Let's just make it completely random. Odd, even. Even. It is the fire mage that is a threat. One is hostile. So we established that one is hostile. Does anybody want to say if the other person is an observer or are they an ally perhaps? Is the archer on our side or is he just watching?
Ooh.
Observant, Magica says. So this person has no interest in being involved, just watching. But the fire mage is out here to do some dirt. Or to do some fire. 2 sets of prints. Samantha says. One behind. The other on the other side of that house.
See it. Who would be dumb enough to do this right now?
I forget. Almost like I've never taken an in-depth look at your skills stats in your character sheet, Van. But are you any good at not being seen?
Yep.
Tiki dear, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, and welcome to another world.
Yep, stealth is one of mine.
Around the house. My left, Samantha says. I'll walk forward. You go behind him.
He's gonna move forward and start heading to her left. Once he,
Why don't you give me stealth check?
right? Once he passes through the wall, he's gonna try to quiet himself, lower his profile. 18 plus 4, 22.
Okay. So this character's perception is going to be... we're going to say it is a +1 on this perception roll for our fire mage. Let's see what comes out, shall we? And here is the fire mage's perception roll. A 19. What did you say you got? Like a 20-something?
22, yeah.
Ah, well, if only the fire mage was better. You are going to get the drop on this poor soul when it actually happens. So, how many feet do you move? For those of you unfamiliar with Dungeons and Possible Dragons, each of these squares on screen is 5 feet.
He's just gonna move his full movement. So 30.
30.
Yeah, he's just gonna move 30 because anything other than that might.
Leaving you there. Fine pathing for you, is that alright?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. With you moving stealthily, Samantha's gonna brace herself against the cold and step carefully throughout the snow. It is a hired gait, one that she's perfected in her years of terribly acting in front of crowds. And she moves a little closer to him. And she moves forward. I'm just gonna move her up to there. But the observer up top continues to watch. We're actually gonna roll for him and see if he notices what's happening. So, with his better advantage, we're gonna actually give him an advantage. That's not the advantage he's supposed to have. Let's get rid of all of those and use my imagined wrong dice emoji. For those of you unfamiliar, 2d20 advantage is we take the higher number. We're going to give him a +4. So +4 to the higher dice. He has to beat a 22. 11 plus 4, 15. Probably. Somehow, despite the fact that you are right here, he has this mad advantage on you. He does not see where you're going. Funny how this works, but life is funny sometimes, and strange. The mage continues waiting. But let's ask the audience. Is this fire mage aggressive? Or is he more the type to wait it out and attack at a better opportunity? Anybody have a say on that? He is waiting to ambush. Guy's kind of a jerk.
He kinda is.
So he sits there, waiting. It's at this point that I realize I only gave myself 9 health points. I don't have an interest in living, both in this game and in real life. Word up, son. So, I already moved. He's waiting. Go ahead. You're going to take another 30 feet. How are you going to handle this?
He's gonna hug the house and start walking right behind him.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5 places you back here. Do you wish to stay 4 behind the building? You can. No, you can. Do you wish to stay behind the building for 4, move out for 5, or get closer for 6?
He's gonna stay there, and he is going to he's gonna draw his dagger. I think that's an action. Oh, it's a bonus action to draw. So he's gonna hold his action. So if he sees him be aggressive or move towards Samantha, he's gonna rush. He's gonna rush him.
When you say stay there, do you mean stay behind the house?
He's gonna hug the corner, kind of peeping out.
Got you. First episode and Jericho's already peeping. I don't know what to say to that. I guess I just said it. But
It's a rogue's life.
We go back to Samantha and her slow little gait. 1, 2, 3. It's on 4 that she reveals herself. On 4 that she steps to the other side. And the fire mage that's waiting makes his attack. Thank you, Najika. Meg had the idea of using these backdrops, and they do look a lot better than my wooden shelf, you see. We just didn't think we'd be doing snow, so we didn't make a snow backdrop. We will have one next week. It is in the budget, I promise. The moment she crosses the threshold, the fire mage is ready. So let me adjust the camera, because you said you wish to interrupt, but you have a movement of 10, right? I think that's the best visual I can give you.
Yeah, I think that helps.
It is 15 feet away. You would not get to him to interrupt with only 10 movement left.
Oh. Actually, when that happens, he is going to move the 10 feet and then use his throwing dagger. Yeah, fitness, simple weapon with a range of 20 feet, 20 and 60 feet. All right.
You expose yourself from the side of the corner, reaching into the leather jacket at your side and pull it out. You flip it so that you catch the blade. Hold on, I can do this. Flip it so that you catch the blade. I'm going to miss this, my first chance using a prop, and y'all going to laugh at me. But I can't hear you because you don't have, a voice. That's right, I've ripped your voice away. I did that on purpose to be funny, Also, shut the fuck up. You weren't supposed to laugh.
All right. So completely not doing that.
You did that.
Van
You
tosses.
dropped it. I was acting as you. You dropped it. I didn't drop it.
All right. Let's see if he does drop it.
Go ahead and make the attack.
That's a 9. So he does drop.
You jump out. Perhaps a bit of the ice, the sleet from the top of the house, flies off as you reveal yourself. You slide a bit on the ice in front of you as you take your step. Samantha is no longer walking, so let's cut out the Samantha walking sound effect. Come on, Orville, do your job. I'm Orville. I'm the one doing the sound mixing. So if I'm doing bad, blame someone else. Nonetheless, you jump out and slide a bit on the ice, and that causes you to almost do the splits. It's a nice little grunt as this jackass does a fireball at Samantha. So let's take a look at Jackass's stats. That's his official name. Somewhere throw it up. We don't have a initiative tracker, but just imagine that we do, and Jackass is on there. This is what he looks like, apparently. You couldn't see because I only flashed it at the screen. Yes, You're peeping, I'm flashing. We all do this. He has a +3 to hit against this. So, Jackass Hotman. What a name. That's his official name, Jackass Hotman.
Jackass
Hotman. He launches out of the shadows that are apparently there. I mean, but there are no shadows. I have lights all over this place. And he does his fireball. This is a +3 to hit against Samantha's... Against Samantha's 12. Wow, I really did not have an interest in being alive. All right, Sam. Do you get hit? The answer should be no. Told you. He launches out of the shadows, the brief flame in his hands. He hears you make the sound. He hears you slide and go, "Whoa!" And as he glances back, he's loosing the fire, and that's what causes him to miss. It races across as he takes a step back and smashes off into the distance behind, throwing apparently, like stone? There's sand and stone beneath the ice. I raised my voice because it sounded loud in my headphones, and I don't know how loud it was for you. Loud. Okay, gotcha. Let me turn that down. Because apparently the one-shot volume's at 100. Sorry,
Wow.
my mistake. I just dropped it a crap ton. Sorry, this is like my first time. I'm a little nervous. I do not mean to scare your dog. Well, my next roll, because of that, Tiki, my next roll is now at a disadvantage. I'm sorry. Okay. The fireball misses and slams into the ice behind. He glances back and looks towards Van, another fireball forming in his right hand. We all knew I was going to have to say it at some point. Sing along if you know the words. Roll for initiative. Samantha has a +2. Clear, roll. 12. I'm not giving the disadvantage on that because it's probably better to have a disadvantage in actual damage. And this guy has +2 as well. So what did you have, Jericho? You have a 3 plus what?
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a +2, so it's a 5 for
5.
me.
Samantha has a 14. And what does not homie have? A 2. 2 plus 2, 4. Hey, look, Samantha also had a 14. That's the second time that's happened during this episode. That's a little interesting. But okay, so somehow you still go before him, even though he completely sucks. That's kind of sad. But judging based off how this goes, and because I don't like following D&D's rule to a T, there are no T's in Dungeons and Dragons, right? So he just made his action. Samantha took a step back. So following the turn order, with him going last, it is now Samantha's turn. And you see what I did there? It was a roundabout way of being super roundabout. I do that sometimes. Nonetheless, I'm going to have Samantha cast Thunderwave. It is a move that paralyzes the opposite Pokemon. So, sorry. I heard Thunderwave and went the complete opposite direction. Let's actually do with this. Here's what Thunderwave does in Dungeons and Dragons. A wave of thunderous force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution savings throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed away 10 feet. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed away. In addition, unsecured objects that are completely within the area of effect are automatically pushed 10 feet away from you. The spell emits a thunderous boom that is audible for 300 feet. You get all that? Do I have to repeat myself? I will, just for you. But nonetheless, as I cast this spell, I totally realize that you're probably going to be hit by it. And it's also now that I realize the laser pointer I got specifically for when I started doing this, I cannibalized the battery so that Meg could play Hamtaro on the Game Boy. You are not hit in that 15-foot range. This gentleman has to make a Constitution savings throw. I believe that's against my spell DC, is that not?
That is, yes.
My spell save. 13, cool. This gentleman has a +1 to this save. Good luck, other person.
Oh, while you roll that, I want to ask a establishing question.
Go ahead.
Are the things on those crates not establishing question. Sorry.
Clarification.
Yeah, clarification question is: are the things in those crates and barrel explosive?
Well, considering that they're not red, I doubt it. But go ahead and roll.
Ooh. I'll pull it less likely because it's
Because
out in
they're
the
not red.
yeah.
2. No, they are not.
All right.
We all wish they were, but they are not. Nonetheless, he failed, so if you would in just a second be ready to roll the dice for me, the attack damage. I don't wish to roll it myself because I don't. Like, you can deal with that.
All
But
right.
nonetheless, she holds out her hands and screams the magic word Expelliarmus as the thunder erupts from her hand. It was very quiet, but I can assure you it happened. Try again. Go ahead and roll me the dice. This gentleman failed and must take 2d8 damage. Are you there? I believe Jericho's internet has crashed. Wonderful. Funny how that happens sometimes. But as I have said all throughout the entire night, we will do this live. It happens sometimes. Know what I mean? I will go ahead and roll the dice myself. He takes 2d8 damage, and I'm sure that Jericho will reconnect in a moment. That is the wrong dice. That's when we play Genesis around here. The 2d8 damage comes out to be an 8. There's supposed to be 2 of those in there, but I guess things don't always work out. The gentleman receives 2d8 damage. He has a total health of that's a crap ton of health. He has 33 health. This guy does not want to die. Nonetheless, gentleman is reduced to 25 health as he pushed back to 10 feet, which would be into Jericho, and these things just kind of go flying across. Bye now. Oh. How's everybody doing tonight? Hopefully pretty well. In fact, let's use this brief moment to go and refill my empty water bottle. Nobody leave, please. I need this more than you can imagine. Bye now. The fire mage's fire that he was making in his right hand is immediately put out as he feels the shocking waves reach and pulse throughout his body. The first instant that they hit, he convulses and twitches. The second one pushes him towards Jericho, and the man stumbles over his own feet as he flies towards the Dragonborn. But, dear Dovahkiin, what is it thou does?
Van is gonna move, drawing his rapier and attack the mage since he clearly attacked Samantha. With the rapier, he has a +4 to attack. Uh, 20 to hit.
You succeed in stabbing at this man. As he flies towards you, you whip the rapier out and throw a nice little swipe his way.
All right, it's a 1d8 +2. Dice. That's a 10. That's a 7 damage.
For a total of 18 health left. You cut the man deep across his chest, and he screams out and grunts as he latches onto you. I've made myself slightly louder in the hopes that helps with talking over the voices. Let me know if that's too difficult or bad on your ears. I do not want to, cause you permanent ear damage. As he latches onto you, you can feel the heat rising out in his hands, but he is point blank with you, and he doesn't feel like he has that because, again, you get disadvantage on up close. So he draws his right hand back, and he just straight up goes for the punch. He strikes at you with a... Okay, I don't know what that noise was, but he strikes at you with a +1. For 18.
He hits because my armor's at 13.
That is surprising. So we are going to give him he only receives a D4 for this. He clocks you straight across the jaw with that unstable motion of falling, clinging, and striking. You feel the sting bite across your lip, but it is now Moa's turn. Samantha is going to move the 30 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stand right beside him. Now, typically, while in flanking position, because this man is not looking at her in any way, Samantha would receive a advantage on this, but I'm going to give her that disadvantage for scaring the dog. Let that dog know that I will forever apologize, and that's going to keep me up tonight. So here are 2 d20s. Samantha is going to be attacking with a dagger. And her chance of striking with that dagger... Okay, yes, it is a d4, but I have a +4 to hit. That's what I was looking for.
Ah, okay.
So here's my disadvantage roll, adding +4 to the lower number. 18. Both of them are 18. I tried. Like, what else can I say to that? But that is a strike. That is a successful strike for d4 + 2. So here's my d4. For a total of 4 damage as Samantha grabs onto the man by the back and brings him into a lower stab just above the kidney. She stabs, turns, twists, and pulls the blade out, grunting as she does so, and the man cries out, feeling the blade pierce the leather armor that he's wearing and rip out a piece of blood. The ground beneath them, the snow, is now dyed partially red in a nice little splatter configuration. But it is now his turn. No, it is not now his turn. It is now your turn. Go ahead, Missing Van.
All right. Van is gonna move over, seeing that Samantha's on the other side of him. Take advantage of that and attack with his rapier once again. So with an advantage, that is a 16.
You have succeeded in striking this poor fellow.
All right. And this activates the sneak attack from the rogue. So besides the d8 + 2 that he gets an additional d6. Oh, so that's 8, 12, 14 damage.
14 damage. That is just enough to bring this poor stranger to 0. Tell me, Jericho, do you go in for the kill, or do you let this man live by some twisted sense of justice?
He's going to let him live, but he's gonna knock him out. He's gonna thrust his rapier through him, but he is gonna make sure that it doesn't go through any vital organs. At least not anything that would kill them right out. He wants them alive and wants to ask questions.
The man grunts as the blade finds his chest. You purposely avoid all of the serious portions of the body, and then rip out. He falls to his knees, thinking that he's going to die. I'm a writer, by the way. Thinking that he's going to dead right there on the ground in the snow. He's holding at the wound, and his eyes glaze over, and he's shaking, and you can tell he's shaking more from the damage than the cold. Have mercy. Have mercy. Mercy, Samantha says. She walks to the front of him, leaving a nice little crunch in the snow behind her and some fresh footsteps. One of them is in the blood, so it follows her to the front of him. Would you have mercy on me? Before I do anything, because I'm pretty sure so far I've only asked one question. My second question is, was he targeting her? No. I didn't know it was you. It was him. He points to the Dragonborn. It was Van. I'm here for Van. Well, you found him.
He's gonna move the tip of the rapier over to him under his throat.
He tenses at it, feeling the heat of his own blood trickling down his neck.
Oh, what do you want with me then?
Dearest audience, if I still have you after singeing off your ears. This man attacked from the shadows, but now he's apparently a coward now that he's been beat. What does he want with Van? Does anybody want to suggest that? Revenge,
Ooh,
perhaps.
revenge.
Is this not connected to the ice damage, or is this man trying to revenge, or to get to revenge for the ice damage? Is he trying to get revenge for what they think happened? That's interesting. Very good job, Pandora Lotus. Very, very good suggestion. So, revenge. I am currently the one still going because I have 2 questions left. Let's go ahead and burn another one real quick. Is he getting revenge for the ice overtaking this kingdom? Yes. I will ask the final question so I can pass. Sorry for dominating this section. My final question is he sent? Is the revenge for himself? Is this a personal vengeance? No, somebody sent him here to get this vengeance. With that, with him feeling his own blood in the blade pressed against him, Samantha gripping the dagger to his right, you in front of him threatening to the left. I pass.
Van is gonna look at him over. He's gonna look into his eyes for a second. And then down. Why? It's just asked. The man shakes. You and your family were there. We know. Everybody knows.
What do they know? Samantha asks.
The man looks over at her, then at him. He was there. What a coincidence that right before he came back, all this shit happened.
Clarification question. Has the archer moved closer? No, but he will be soon. Go on.
Van takes a deep breath, looks around and puts away his... Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't put away his rapier, but he continues looking at him. It happened the same damn day. How is that my fucking fault? He backs up. It's no coincidence that you and people that were with you disappeared, and then this. People know you won't be able to hide behind bureaucracy for long. Van kind of shakes his head, a little frustrated, and he puts his rapier away. Who was it? The question here is, does he tell him? I'll leave it at neutral, because this man might be still a coward, but he might still be working for somebody. No. Okay, so he doesn't tell him.
Clarification question. Does the observer know?
Does?
No, but he's been tipped off and that's why he's followed. He doesn't know who hired it. He just knows that this man was hired to do dirt.
The man looks up at Van. Look, I was just paid to get rid of you.
Were there others? Or were you hired alone?
Judging that a lot of people know, I'm gonna gear it towards likely. Ooh, no. Straight up, no. He's alone. No, it was just me. Anybody else was too fucking coward to do this.
You have a lot of balls to come after 2 arbiters like that. Should have known it wouldn't have worked out in your favor.
Man looks it over. Arbiters don't betray their country. With that, Vance redraws his rapier and puts it against his throat again. I didn't betray anybody.
I'm going to make a real quick wisdom check. I'm going to aim for a 12. Samantha has a +2, but Tiki Deer's dog implies disadvantage, dog disadvantage, so 2 are negative. The lower of these dice would be a 3 for a total of 5. She does not intervene on the behalf. She doesn't think that, hey, I should stop him from doing something stupid. Instead, she folds her hands and watches. My debt to the dog is paid.
Gonna roll another wisdom save to see how he acts. All right. Even though there's a lot of hate in his eyes, he looks over. He looks at Samantha as he pulls his rapier away from him. You were doing what you thought was right. But tell anybody that would like to know I wasn't involved in any of this. I have a stake on finding out who the fuck did this. Leave me the hell alone. He puts away his rapier and backs off.
You're just gonna let him live.
No reason to kill him. We got what we wanted. This fool is misinformed, and killing him will only strengthen that misinformation. Might as well just leave him here. He's close enough to the castle so he can get some medical aid. Ooh, that's a good question, Meg.
Let's go ahead and ask that. Does Van have a reputation? You want to roll that or should I?
I'll roll it, and it'll be straight neutral. Yes, but
Maybe the but is you have a reputation, but it's the wrong reputation.
that works. And then actually, I'll extend the question to the chat. What sort of reputation does Van have?
He's a party animal and went to the sickest school, and he does wicked good kickflips.
I thought we were talking about Van, not Jericho.
Oh. You're a drunk. That's
A
your
drunk.
reputation. They're afraid to go after you because you're a drunken kung fu master.
Ooh.
But again, while we're asking questions to the audience, what about this little elf guy? We established that he is here to observe. With this scene, shall we say, pretty much concluded, does this man leave? Does he make himself known? Does he save the person after the two characters leave? Dear chat, what happens to this man? He gets a tiny little hat. That's the correct answer. He stays and eats cake, apparently. We are going to say that when the two of them leave, the gentleman is simply eating a bit of his rations as they walk off into the snow, leaving this man bleeding out. He was literally just waiting to get into the stores. He is a thief. He is a looter. That's actually a really interesting question. This man was there to watch, but he was watching for the coast is clear. He just saw them get stabbed as he was waiting to break into the stores. This man is probably not good news. The two of them turn off and begin moving through the snow, each step crunching beneath them as they walk. Despite what he says, there's probably going to be more of them, Samantha says.
More than likely. Better we get the hell out of here before more like him come out. They would keep their damn distance.
There'll probably be more of them next time.
Maybe.
We have a few hours of daylight. I'm going to ask one final question. Does it get darker faster because of this ice? No. And time is still normal. Get as far as we can before we find shelter. And whatever waits in the ice comes for us.
He looks over as he puts the hood back around him. And they start making their way. Maybe we can get a horse and a wagon, or at least a wagon. I know how to drive one of those. Not here though.
A horse and a sled.
Yeah.
Jericho. She stops a few feet behind. Did you really not know?
He stops. He turns at her and shakes his head. No. My job was to bring as many people back to the city as I could. My parents went that way because they didn't want those people to be alone. You look over.
Do you think your parents would have helped them?
No. Without a doubt, no. Unless it was something. Unless they were holding something above their head. And even then, they would have died first before that.
Maybe they did.
I guess that's a question I'm never going to be able to ask.
Maybe you don't want the answer.
Nods.
We will go ahead and end there for the night. Thank you to everybody who joined us for our first session. I know it was a little rough with sound effects and getting a feel for it. Camera issues. Added on to that, this while moving. You know what happens. But I'm grateful that you spent this time with us tonight. And I hope you do come again. We will be streaming again tomorrow at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern. However, that is going to be a game that I have actually written. It is not entirely randomly generated. I will be running Jericho with a different character. He'll be playing by the name of Rosen through a completely curated story. One that is sent to be much darker and more dramatic than this one, with much stronger characters. So I do hope you come and join us for that. It is going to be a lot of fun, and we have a bunch of colorful minis to represent all of what we're going to come through. I thank you for putting up with the growing pains of our sounds, and I promise they'll be quieter in the future. But thank you so much for spending that time with us, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, we will be... Wait for it. We gotta let the right moment pass, and that's not just me hesitating. It really isn't. Other worlds.